Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to talk about my project. My project title is the realization of an avatar symbiotic society where everyone can perform active role without constraint. In short, we call it avatar symbiotic societies. So I'm a project manager, and I'm also the professor of Osaka University. Okay. So in order to achieve the goal of this program, we are setting the several milestones, and this is actually this is our final goal in 2050s. So we want to realize this kind of societies. Anyone, including the elderly and people with disabilities, will be able to freely participate in various activities with abilities beyond ordinary peoples while expanding their physical, cognitive, and perceptual abilities using a large number of cybernetic avatars. The CA means cybernetic avatars. And anyone will be able to work and study, the anytime, anywhere, they minimize commuting to work and have plenty of free times. So we want to realize this kind of societies. So for example, the education. So what is the idea of the educational environment? So if we can provide the home teachers for each student, right? So I think we can give a much better the educational environment to the student. But of course, we need the school itself, right? School is the place where that we can have active discussions, face to face. And if we use the avatars in a school, so we can invite the foreign student, even if we have the COVID problem against. The same things happens in the working environments. So many people today were working at home, but sometimes they need to have help by professionals. In such case, we can send the professional, for example, the lawyer, by using the avatars. And in the companies, we can by using the avatars, we can have discussions with many members, including the members from foreign countries. And we can improve the medical situation, the medical environment also, right? So we can send the medical doctors by using avatars. At the same time, right, in the hospital, so we can invite the professional, medical doctors by using the avatars, right? So I think we can improve the medical situations very much by using avatars. Then the people may use the avatars as the conversational partners, or as the consultant, or for having the medical cares. And people may use avatars in parties. So the avatar can expand our communication abilities very much, and the avatar will bring the new world, new societies, which is probably different from the current physical societies, and probably different from the current virtual societies. So by using the avatars, we can mix up the physical world and the virtual world. So that is our imaginations. So in order to achieve that goal, in order to develop that kind of societies, we need to do the several things. The first, of course, we need to develop the avatars, right? So we need to develop the technologies that allows the one operator to manipulate, to operate multiple cybernetic avatars, as intended, right? This is very important, right? And in addition to that, of course, we need to improve the dialogue technologies very much. So we have dialogue technology today, but it is not perfect, right? So in order to use avatars in a noisy environment, we need to improve the technology very much. This is a very fundamental and very, very important technologies. And if we want to make the avatars more autonomous, of course, we need to give the recognition functions to the avatars for the environment. Avatar need to recognize the environment, recognize the people. Then we can make the avatars more autonomous, right? And then we need to integrate several avatars for achieving the operator's intentions. So we need to combine the multiple avatars, right? That is also the quite important fundamental the technologies. Then based on that, technologies, we can develop the infrastructures. And once we develop the infrastructures, we can perform the various field tests by using them, right? And during the performing the field tests, so we need to discuss about the ethical issues and we need to consider about the new rules or laws, right, for using the avatars in societies. And we need to investigate what kind of effect or influence we want to have by using avatars. So my project consists of the 8 groups, and each groups are contributing these programs. The first group is my group. We are developing the avatars. Second group is Professor Kawahara's group, and focusing on the dialogue, the technologies. And the third group is Professor Harada's group from Tokyo University, and they are developing the new technologies for recognizing the environment and the people activities. And the fourth group is Professor Nagai's group from Osaka University. He is developing the very complicated systems that consist of multiple avatars. And the fifth group is Dr. Miyashita's group from ATR, and they are developing the platform. And the sixth group, Professor Kawaoka's group from Tohoku University, and they are running the very unique the approach for checking the effect of avatars to the users, to operators. Right? I will explain even more later. And then then we have a field test group, and and we also have the ethical issues group. Right? So these groups are running the the consortium also, right? That consists of many companies. And actually the 8th group, this group is, Professor Nakano is leading this group. Right? Anyway, so by integrating these group activities, we are running the many field tests so far. So we have spent almost 2 years, in this very large Moonshot project. And during the 2 years, we have conducted more than 30 field tests. So let me introduce a couple of impressive field tests. So this is the first, the field test that I want to talk. This is a kindergarten. In a kindergarten, and under the COVID situations, so kindergarten couldn't accept the external pupils. Usually, they are inviting the many volunteers, right? But they couldn't invite that kind of pupils because of COVID. And the same things happened for the elderly care houses, right? And they were accepted the children's visit, but they couldn't do that because of COVID. Then our idea was to use the small, cute avatars in kindergartens. So actually, the elderly operators were operating this cute robot by changing the voice, okay? And then they could have a pretty good conversations. So probably that we're gonna have the normal society after the COVID, the COVID situations. Probably I hope the COVID situation will be over soon. But this kind of services are pretty important. We want to keep this kind of services by using the avatars. And then, we were using the many avatars, cybernetic avatars in the zoos, right? Well, again, under the COVID situations, they couldn't provide the conversational services in a zoo. This zoo is in a shopping mall. It's a small zoo, but it's very popular in Osaka, right? And we have the they deliver the 6 avatars in a small robot, and then maybe the 2 or 3 operators were, operating the avatars and talking with the visitors and the children. So this was a quite successful services. And we have extended that services in the department stores. In the department stores, the important role of avatar was to guide the people. So usually, the department store, the people are looking for the location of items, right? And the department store's name was Tokyo Hans. It's very popular department store in Japan, and we have delivered the 20 avatars, and the 4 operators were operating a robot. Basically the 20 avatars, they're executing the autonomous functions to guide the people, to teach the people the location of items, right? The people were asking the questions, and avatars were autonomously answering the questions. But sometimes the visitors may ask a little bit difficult question to answer. In such case, operator jump into the avatars, and operator were guiding the people by using avatars. So if we combine the autonomous functions and the teleoperated functions, so we can realize, this kind of the multiple use of avatars by one operator. In this case, one operator were using the 5 avatars. Okay. And here, I was also using avatars in the bakery, right? And basically, my appearance is not so good for selling the bread in the bakery. Children scare my facial expressions, my clothes. I'm just wearing the black one, right? And it's impossible to sell the bakeries, so to sell the bread in the bakery for me. But if I then I was using this very cute robot avatar, and I was selling the bread in a bakery. It was quite successful, right? I was changing my voice, and I was changing my appearance like this, right? And I could sell a lot of bread in the bakeries. So this is the possibility of avatars. So I call this new world the virtualized real world. So what is the virtualized real world? Basically we are living in a real world, right? But the demerit of a real world is, if we have some serious mistake, right? So it's quite, it causes a very serious problem. So we have just, the single bodies. We cannot replace this body with other bodies, right? So that is the problem of a physical, the real world. Right? But the important thing is almost all real business, that happens in the real world. But on the other hand, of course, we have a virtual world, that is the internet world and the metaverse world and the SNS world, right? So that we can have, usually the people use the people, we don't use a real name. We use just a nickname. It's anonymous, right? So therefore, even if we take a serious mistake in one virtual world, we can just visit the different virtual world. So virtual world is a kind of a multiple world, multiple universe, and it's easy to switch from one to the another world, and that is a merit of a virtual world. The question is, the challenge is how to combine both merit of a real world and merit of a virtual world. If we use the avatars, I think we can integrate the real world and the virtual world, right? So, and by using the avatars in a real world, right? So that we can have a different ourselves, right? So I can have a different personality, and I can have a different possibility to work in the bakeries or some other, the place, right? So that is the possibility of avatars. And this kind of, in Japan, so 2 years ago, when I have started this project, at the same times, I have started my startup companies. My startup company using the computer graphics avatars, and they're providing some services in the internet or in the physical environment by using the computer graphics avatars. That computer graphics avatar is getting very popular now. So that kind of things already happens in Japan. And in near future, I think so we can use the various technologies developed in this Moonshot project in the companies, right? There are several the companies running that kind of a business already. And then, so we need to carefully consider about ethical issues, right? So there are many possible physical issues. For example, the real-world anonymization problem, the ability expansion problems, multiple avatar, the operation problems, or human relationships expansion problems, right? So we need to solve the many problems. So and avatar world is going to be real soon. Therefore, that we need to seriously discuss about these issues. Okay. So I think I have another 15 minutes, and then I wanna very quickly introduce our achievement within 2 years, and for each groups, okay? The first group is my group, and so my group, we are developing the very human-like realistic avatars and some other avatars, right? So main focus is, we call it in Japanese, it's a sonzaikan avatars. That the avatars that has the human-like presence. So we are developing that kind of avatar. So this is my 6th generation copy, and we could improve the performance of my avatars very much. And we also developing the mechanical looking neutral avatars, which has the neutral face. Okay, so according to the situations, we can use these avatars. Professor at Osaka University and ATR. I have been working on the research and development of autonomous conversational robots that closely resemble humans. We are now developing our robot technology to create human-like avatars. So I want to show you this avatar's behavior gestures. This gesture is much better than me. So well, I cannot have this kind of rich behavior. Well, if I try to do the same things, well, it will be a little bit strange. But the avatar can have a perfect gestures for for giving the presentations. So probably avatar is going to be better than the original humans. Okay, so that is our challenge. By using the avatars, we can express we can have a much better way of the expressions. So, and avatar can have a perfect gazing control, perfect body movement, perfect gestures, right? So that is the possibility of avatars, and this is very basic hospitality-rich behaviors, I believe. Okay, and then of course we also have another avatars. It looks like the small characters, right? So, but probably the children like this, small robot, and this robot can move, right? So, near futures, we're gonna use this kind of a small movable avatar in many places, especially in Expo 2025. I'm a producer of the Expo, Kansai Osaka Expo 2025, and we are planning to use these avatars. And then the Expo will be a very big, test field of our technologies. And we also developing a kind of autonomous technologies here. The role of avatar is asking to sanitize the hands. Right, but in order to well, in order to ask ask to sanitize the hand to the visitors, timing is very difficult sometimes, right? It's a so cloudy environment. And then, we were using the inverse reinforcement learning, right? And we trained this, we gathered the data over 1 week, and then, the avatars, this Android could take the perfect timing to ask to sanitize the hands, right? So if the avatar could have this kind of human level, or sometimes more than the humans, well, we can provide the very rich service by using the avatars. Okay. So second group is Professor Kawahara's group. They are focusing on the speech recognition and speech synthesis. So these are very, very important things. And they're focusing on the scenes. So for the simple explanations, probably we can make it autonomous, and the simple teachings and some the attentive listening for the elderly and job interviews and the consulting. If we limit the situations, and if we limit the contents of the conversations, we can make it autonomous, right? Then we can combine these autonomous functions with the teleoperated functions by operators. Okay. This is a very complicated videos. Here, one operators, they're talking with the 3 people, and the task is the attentive listening. So one operator is, they are listening the 3 people's the talk, right? And they simply answering to the 3 people's utterance. Okay. So actually, this is possible. So of course we need to improve these functions more, but if we want, we can develop this kind of a system. And recently, the Professor Kawahara's group developed the autonomous function to make the shared referral. Well, the robot can have a perfect timing. The timing for laughing, right? So this kind of emotional relationships is also very important, and his work became very popular recently, especially in the UK. Right, the UK medias reported his achievement, and almost all UK medias. Okay, so then the third group is Professor Harada's group, and they're developing the very important technologies for recognizing environment, for recognizing the people's activities. Okay, so this is the very unique, important technologies, and it's the partial point cloud matchings in deformable scenes. Basically, there are so many deformable the object we have in our real environment, right? And then this is another example of environmental recognitions. So we need this kind of a very robust recognition technologies, recognition functions for the avatars. And then we can develop the autonomous function avatars, and then operator can easily enhance their abilities by using these the functions. Okay. And the fourth group is Professor Nagai's group. They are using the multiple avatars. We can the home environment, hospital environment. If we consider that is practical environment, we need to use the different types of avatars. This avatar is handling something. This avatar is well, they're carrying something, and then some avatar is talking with people. How we can integrate these avatars? That is our challenge. And they're also using these different types of robots. And this is one example how two robots collaborate in real time, right? So near futures, we're gonna use the avatars, for helping the elderly, or helping the housekeepers, right? Maybe in a hospital also. And then if we combine with the physical task avatars with the conversational task avatars like this, right? So we can provide more rich services. And of course, the operators, right? They can talk. Operator can operate these conversational avatars, and then the operators they can use the other physical task avatars. Right? I think this kind of things happens in the near futures, especially in elderly care houses, in hospitals. Okay, I believe that. And then, so move on to the next group. In the fifth group, Dr. Miyashita's group, we are developing the platform. So platform is, of course, it's quite important for sharing our technologies there, I think we don't have enough time to explain the details, but I think there are three important things for developing the platform. One is the platform should be scalable. The scalability is very important, and the customizability is also important for the platform, right? And then the interoperability. So in order to satisfy these three important things, we are carefully designing the platform. And then the sixth group is Professor Kawaoka's group. So what we are doing here is we are investigating we are trying to establish the multi-omics measurements of human blood during the use of devices and the conversations, right? So we use when we are using the avatars, what kind of effect, influence we're gonna have in our bodies. So that is our challenge. Actually, multi-omics means genomes and transcriptomes and the protomes and the metabolomes, right? So we're gonna analyze all of these, and then we are trying to understand what happens in our bodies. This is very ambitious, the challenge, I believe. Okay, and then they move on to the seventh group. Seventh group, of course, is a group to run the field experiments. As I said, so far we have performed more than 30 field tests within 2 years. That covers the various services, right? And these, the services we have targeted, and then, and this is the number of the avatars that they can be operated by one operators, right? And in the beginnings, one operators were operated the one avatars, but finally, we could have more difficult challenges in which one operator operate 5 avatars. Right? Of course, that we need to improve the function more and more, and we need to expand the services that we can perform with avatars. Okay, and the maybe last group is the avatar social ethics design group, right? So as I said, this is very important, right? So we are actively discussing with the many people, and this group also has the consortium, And in the consortiums, we are talking with the ordinary peoples about how we can use the avatars in future societies. Okay, and then our final goal is to realize the human avatar symbiotic societies by using the developed technologies in our project. So thank you for your attention. That's all.